Today I'm going to show you a quick simple task that you can use to fix your show up rate. It was dreadful. It was the first time in my life I felt like a nobody. Why fix something that's not already broken? But this is where the problem came in, and that's what this video does. That's what it does. It positions you as the only person to help them, and they need to work with you. It's one of the best sales assets we've ever produced for our own services. We use it in every single service offering we have now because it's an absolute game changer. Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to show you a quick simple task that you can use to fix your show up rate. Now, you probably only clicked on this video if you've suddenly experienced that your show up rates aren't as high as you would like them to be. Now, a goal target for you to set would be a 60 to 70% show up rate. Ideally, you want an 80 to 90% show up rate if you get everything absolutely 100% and your marketing is spot on. Now, that's a clue there in terms of how the fix is going to actually be done, but I want to take you back first of all to how I figured this out, and it was firstly to do with how we were running our main sales channel and only sales channel at the time. So our main sales channel was what was organically grown over the last 10 years with PB Academy, a fitness coaching service where we scaled to having a full team of coaches, a sales team, everything. The business was running great, right? And as we were scaling, it was mainly through that one specific channel, and that channel was organic social media content, right? What everyone it's free to use, easy to use. We were just so consistent. We were very good at what we were doing. We had full campaigns running over the year. We had, specific campaigns we were running every single month with free organic content that seemed organic to, the natural untrained eye for everyone that was following us. But obviously we had a clear strategy behind the scenes of what we were doing. But just to explain that to you, it's a very slow and uncontrollable process, selling through that organic main channel, right? Because you're relying on the gods of Instagram and the algorithms and everything like that, so hoping that the people that do follow you actually see your content. And as we know today in 2025, it's a very different reality. People that follow your content don't necessarily see everything you post. Much harder to control, right? And we started to see that in, I think it was early 2024. We were noticing signs that although we were still on the upward trajectory with revenue and growing in terms of clients, we scaled to over 250 active clients with the fitness coaching service. That's pretty unheard of unless you've got like a massive following and everything like that. But we found that it wasn't like a lever we could pull. We couldn't pull a lever and all of a sudden scale up to 500 clients, 750 clients, 1,000 clients, which was the goal, right? So what we had to do was we were like, right, we've got to introduce a new channel. We flew out to Vegas. We'd gone to Hormozi's event. It was a great event for us at the time. And one thing they said to us was, you've got single channel risk at the moment, where we've got one sales channel. It's uncontrollable. It's not something we can we had the money and we were like, we wish we could spend to get more customers, but we don't have that channel set up. So that's where we looked at paid advertising. We'd never done it before. I had no clue with paid ads, so I invested in an agency. I spent about 15 grand on paid ads initially in the first couple of months to test a lot of new things, stuff like that. And one thing I noticed, because I like to track the metrics, right? There's a clear funnel. I'm going to list it out for you, just so you can see it visually if you don't understand this. But with a service-based business, if you run any service-based business, you know that there's a few metrics that are very key, right? To look at high level if you want to see what's going on in your business. And that is just through the organic funnel. So if we're just looking at it from this point of view, basically, the people organically that follow you, the amount of people that click your link from the amount of views you get. So you look at a percentage there of what you can expect. Obviously, the percentage is going to be quite low. So let's say you get maybe 50,000 views a month. If 1% of that clicks, 1.5, you're doing pretty good at that point. Then from the people that hit your landing page, how many people actually opt in? So the conversion rate of the actual landing page. Then you've got qualified lead to actual book call. So you're looking at that conversion then of how many people actually eventually book the call. So book call percentage from the amount of people that obviously become a lead. And then you've got the show up rate, which is the key one here. Then you've got the close rate, the amount of people that jump on a call actually show up to the call, so show up to close. And then you've got, we've got these big sheets built up. There's lots of different metrics in between as well, if you're looking at the fine nitty-gritty details. But just looking at it from a higher level view here, these are the things that I would be thinking about. Now, this is the thing, the first time, like, obviously, Even an organic business, the close rate is obviously something you're trying to work on all the time. You're not thinking about show up. I'll be honest. Like with organic content, you're not thinking about the show up rate at all. Book call, the amount of people that book the call from the amount of people that fill a form in, how many of them are actually qualified leads. So is the marketing bringing in the right people? You're obviously thinking about this at this stage here. The show up rate is not something you're actually thinking about. But what we found was, so at this point here, you're not really thinking about this at all. So we didn't really have any strategy in place to increase the show up rate because we never had a problem with it. The show up rate was already high, and for you to fix this, you need to understand why it's already high with organic, right? With organic, people had consumed our content for months and months and months and months. So they'd watched me, they'd watched our team, they'd watched our events, they'd watched our results, they'd consumed hours of our content, even if it was just short form or some of it longer form in YouTube, especially when it was longer form. Those hours built up, and I don't want to be someone to quote, the same study that everyone quotes, but Google, I think it was in 2011, so a long time ago before social media, they produced a study, the 7-11-4 rule. It was basically saying that people need to consume about 7 hours of your content over 11 different touch points, over 4 different locations for them to fully trust you to buy from you. And obviously that study was done for that reason, because they wanted to find out how much they needed to, advertise in people's faces to actually get more sales. And that's evident with organic social media. People consume your content for hours and hours and hours and hours. Then they trust you enough to literally, as soon as they've made that decision, so then they become a lead, book a call, close, join. Like all the rates are pretty high. So running an organic business, if you've nailed it with your top of funnel content and you've blown up on social media, you've got a large organic following, millions of followers or hundreds of thousands of followers, business just becomes easy. It just becomes so simple. We hadn't done that. We had a low organic following, but we squeezed the juice from what we had. So this is why we never had things in place really to maximize our show rate, because it wasn't an issue. So why fix something that's not already broken, right? But this is where the problem came in. So then I decided, right, we needed to set up a new channel because we wanted to scale this thing. And that's where the pain came in, right? Because we'd already been working on close rate, everything else, the conversions, the landing pages, we were already working on that stuff organically. Show rate, never even thought of. So when we switched to cold traffic, this is what happened. Our show up rate dropped from organically, it was 70%. Well, it was actually higher. It was about 80 to 90% organically. Dropped down to this year, which is the before stat, 35%. It was dreadful. It was the first time in my life I felt like a nobody. I was jumping on these calls. I was sitting on calls, waiting for people to join. And I just remember being so frustrated because we were making a lot of money at the time. My time was more valuable than it's ever been in my life. And people would pay me between 350 to 500 quid at that point to just sit down with me for half hour. And whether it was to talk about like anything really, whether it was specifically to do with fitness and people wanted to pay for that, or whether it was for people who wanted to talk about business and wanted to understand what we were doing, that was my rate. And then to think that I was still stuck in sales, I was still stuck on sales calls, and I was sitting there and people were just no-showing me. And then the ones that did join were incredibly cold leads anyway. No respect for me, no respect for what we'd done, no idea of who we were. It was really, really painful. And that's when I thought, there's a massive issue here now. How can I replicate the same respect that I've got in person in our gym, that I've got online with my organic following? How can I have that with a new channel? And that's when I realized, right, I've got to put something together, a nurture sequence, a nurture journey that people go through from when the moment they book that call or they become a lead to when they book that call and then they finally show up for the call. And that was when we developed the Welcome Pack VSL and really ramped it up. We'd already been using it anyway, within just to our organic following. But this is when we thought, right, people are going to be watching this video that potentially know nothing about me, who we are, what I've done, what we can do, what we can offer. And that's when the Welcome Pack VSL was born. Although I would love to sit here and tell you that the biggest change we made, which we did change as well, so there was 2 changes, so it wasn't a fair trial, right? The other change as well, so we had this show up sequence. So if you've got a CRM, obviously you can automate this. And we automated it from when people booked up a call, or we had different sequences as well at different points when they joined and become a lead. So we had 2 different things, obviously. SMS and email. So email and then SMS. And just to give you a quick high level of our structure that we would use with the show up sequence. So if for a fact they couldn't book anywhere from over 4 days out, so if it was like 5 days out, 6 days out, the calendar wouldn't be available. That's a quick hack for your show up rate to make sure it's not going to absolutely tank. But let's say, so +4, +3, +2, +1. So leading up to the call, how many days out, basically. These would all be just trust emails, right? So trust. It wouldn't be anything specific about what we do. It was more case studies, proof of everything that we were doing to just inject trust into that buyer's journey. We would also have then on the day before, so 12 hours before, we would have a quick reminder. So it was more remind. And then 2 hours before, reminder. So this would just give them the link again as well, right? So we were just bombarding them with case studies, because how many times have you faced objections on a call if people don't know who you are, where they're like, can you send over any like case studies literally of someone that was in my shoes, my situation, that you were able to do this for or help this person with? And that's why we just bombard them with as many case studies as possible before they actually join the call. And then the SMS, this is the crucial part here, right? What we would do here, and I can really dive into the show sequence because we did go hard on this, and over time we improved it as well and worked it out to get people to like engage with us, respond to our emails, respond to our messages, to kickstart that process. But the first thing I would send them was +1 hour after booking, and it would be made to seem, even though it was automated, like a personal message that I've sent, saying like, did you get my email? Just checking you got the email okay. So it really seems like a legit message. And then I say, by the way, make sure you watch this video. We've linked in the first email, but I want to make sure you must watch this before you join the call. And that was the Welcome Pack VSL. So I've made full videos on this. It's a sales VSL compared to a leads VSL, which most people, even if you're thinking of VSL now, you're thinking of a leads VSL. A sales VSL is completely different. It's a sales asset that removes the pitch from your calls. So from your eventual sales call, you literally cut out the pitch that may be 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes long, reduce your sales call time. It's a key thing you need to do to start to reduce your time on calls as a founder, or reduce your sales guys' calls so they can be more efficient, take more calls, make the calls more authentic, and increases your close rate as a byproduct of doing those things. So the Welcome Pack VSL is the thing that we would make sure we link to them and we would remind them about. It's the only thing I care about them watching, because that there, we can't squeeze in 7 hours of content. Like if someone's booked in 2 days away, there's no way you can squeeze in 7 hours of content. However, for them to even get to that point, you make sure with your ads, with your ad strategy, or your funnel strategy with ads and paid content, you're making sure they've consumed enough about you before they join, so that they are more warmed up, they respect you more, they understand your offer. And the moment they've watched this, which is going to be about 10 to 15 minutes video, now they really understand everything about what you do, why it works for them, why you are the only guy that can solve this problem in the way that you are proposing you to solve it. It's key that they understand that, and that's what this video does. That's what it does. It positions you as the only person to help them, and they need to work with you. That's how they feel. So it goes literally from a conversation of, I don't respect you, I'm not even going to show up on time, I'll just book in again, I don't care, I don't know nothing about you or what you do because you've just shown up as an ad and I've booked in, to this is insane, I can't believe I get to speak to you, I need to work with you right now. Like that's the before and after transformation of what you do when you use this video in the right way. Instead of you worrying about your show up rate and thinking, oh my god, I'm never going to be able to fix the show up rate is tanked from cold advertising, from paid ads, and I'm never going to be able to figure this out, and it's costing so much money per lead to get people booked in, they're not showing up. Instead of you obsessing over what's the perfect nurture sequence in terms of the emails I sent out and the SMS sequences I send out, do I automate it, do I get a setter to ring them up, do I do any of that stuff? Personally, I the biggest change we found from trying to do everything was the Welcome Pack VSL. It's that video they get to watch of you, the founder, because you need to make it, where you pitch them everything that they're about to go on this call and what it's about. And they know everything about your service, your offers, offerings, your packages. You don't give away prices. We know why. But we keep them value focused, and they join up to the call and they respect you. And it's just a game changer for a show up rate. So that itself will drastically improve your show up rates. So if you've got an issue with show up rates, I'll attach the welcome pack below so you can go there, you can check it out. We'll give you the framework for free. You can literally start to build out your own slides and ready to pitch it, present it, record it, and automate it. But yeah, hopefully that helps. It's one of the best sales assets we've ever produced for our own services. We use it in every single service offering we have now because it's an absolute game changer. Increases your close rate, reduces the time you spend on calls or your sales guys, and it increases show up rates as well when you're advertising to cold traffic. So yeah, that's it. If you like this type of content, make sure you subscribe. This is all about scaling the service business. We're doing it alongside you. We're literally trying to grow our own business. So we're in together, and I hope you learn from the stuff that I've learned. So yeah, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you soon.